Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. We're on a dragon theme today, but I got my book dragon mug and my Rider's Quadrant sweatshirt. Today's video is going to be my December reading wrap-up. I have a lot of books to talk about today, so grab a drink, grab a snack. I'm going to try my best to give you very short thoughts, because if not, this video would be forever long. So also bear with me if I'm not giving you a ton of content about each book, but we have to get through this, and it is a lot of books, which is exciting, but it's a lot right now to wrap up. So with that being said, let's just get into it. December was kind of my Hallmark Christmas movie TBR, where I was just trying to read a bunch of books in that kind of vein. The first book that I ended up finishing was Grace in the Gray by Mike Donahue. He is the lead singer of 10th Avenue North, and this is a really interesting read. It's a more loving way to disagree, and I actually really loved this. It was very good. In this divisive culture, what if loving the person is better than winning the argument is kind of the tagline on the back. And I really liked the way he dealt with those topics and the way we can, as humans, learn from each other and not just be at each other's throats if we have a difference of opinion. And I really liked that a lot. It was really interesting, and think it's a lot of good food for thought, and everybody should probably read this. So that was the first one that I ended up reading. Next is Christmas is All Around by Martha Waters. In my review, I said, let the cheesy holiday romances begin. This when you're following somebody who was like a child movie star in a huge Christmas movie that's like iconic in this book, and she goes to England to visit her sister for the holidays because she hates Christmas because of her upbringing and being the child star. And she ends up befriending and getting involved with this guy that owns a old English house where actually part of the movie was filmed, and it's just kind of interesting. But it's a little holiday romance. It's very cute. It's set in England, which is really nice and festive. Actually, I realized this as I was reading the book. I've been meaning to read this author's works in the Regency historical romance genre, and I think this is her first contemporary Christmas book. And I really liked her writing and humor, so I'm excited to get to her historical Regency romances now. But this was a really cute book. There's a little bit of bits about the baby being a terror that were really funny and just really strike my particular humor. I liked the resolution for the problem that did arise. I thought it was handled really well, actually, because there's a lot of like miscommunication tropes and stuff in a lot of contemporary romances that are really frustrating. And I thought she handled these really well and in kind of an immature way. So I really appreciated that. I liked the way the plot was handled, and I thought it was a really cute read. While still Christmassy, it's not super festive, as one of the main plot points, as I said, is that the female main character hates Christmas, but it was still very enjoyable, and I still liked it a lot. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Out of the vein of the Christmassy books, I read Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This is book 2 in the Nevermore series, and I've really enjoyed this series so far. It's a really fun middle grade that is like a magical society, and just a lot of fun. There's dangerous elements, there's sinister elements, but it's just so good. I've been really enjoying it and loving it. This one was also really good. It wasn't as funny or as exciting for me as book 1, but I still loved it. This does have a lot more danger and plot, which is good. I did like that. And the plot is getting more complicated and sinister and mysterious, while still keeping a lot of humor. So I'm excited to continue on the series to book 3. Can't tell you a whole lot more about the plot, but excited. And book 4 is coming out this year, I believe, which is exciting. And I gave it 4.5 stars. Next, I read The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore. This is book 3 in the Dream Harbor series. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe is the first one. I didn't read that one, nor did I read The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. I probably will at some point, but this is kind of the one that called to me at the moment because I was in a Christmassy mood. This was cute. It's what I wanted it to be, you know. It's hard to say a lot about these. It's a cute little holiday romance, and that's what I was asking for, you know. It's like a Hallmark movie. This one in particular is like a Hallmark movie. It's a little spicier than I was anticipating, but it was fun. It's a part of a series that's all standalones, but I assume they have like cameos or throwbacks to other characters. I would read more from this series if I'm in the mood for it. I am looking into the 2 that are coming out in 2025, and I think I want to read those particularly. But I did like that in this one, it was kind of interesting that the female main character was the grumpy one. I liked that twist because usually it's the male that's the grumpy one, but I liked that she was grumpy. And it was good. I give it 3 stars. Next, I had a little Christmassy audiobook that I was trying to listen to and review for my NetGalley because it had been sitting there and I needed to review it, and that is Later On We'll Conspire by Courtney Kessel. I liked this okay. It was fun and had humor. It was a fast little read, you know, just something to cleanse the palate. I liked the agent and the espionage aspects of the story, and that it was all tied up in this like holiday Christmas romance story. Will say that for most of the book, I thought Park was the absolute worst special agent ever. Like, you're the worst secret agent. Like, you're so incompetent. It felt like he was kind of incompetent in a lot of the plot and how it was unfolding. It's supposed to be funny and lighthearted and silly, but I was just like, you are bad at your job. But I did really like the twist, actually. I thought that was pretty good. And if you want a lighthearted holiday rom-com with the spy twist, I suggest you give it a shot. I gave it 3 stars. Next, I read The Sin of Certainty, Why God Desires Our Trust More Than Our Correct Beliefs by Peter Enns. This is one that had been, I had seen on a recommendation and was really curious about, and ended up having the opportunity to listen to it. And this book was really good. It can be challenging as well. It's a good reminder that God is God and we cannot possibly know everything or be right about everything. And at some point we just have to let faith do its thing, especially when we don't or can't understand. And I liked the way that he addressed that and how he dealt with that topic. So really enjoyed this. I would definitely recommend it if that's something you're curious about. Next, we get into the Under the Mistletoe collection from Amazon. I read all of these, but I didn't read them all back to back, so it's going to be a little bit sporadic, but I read the whole collection, and the first one that I read was Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. This is surprisingly good for how short it was. Like, I'm amazed. I love Ali Hazelwood's writing. She's done a fantastic job from all the books that I've read so far, but her writing is just so good, and I always find myself getting really immersed in her books and invested in her books, which is what's important, especially in romance to me. That you invest in the characters and you actually like want them to get together and care about them getting together. I really enjoyed this cute holiday little short story. I liked the story and the romance. I thought it was done really well, and I was kind of shocked how she was able to take such a short story and make it so immersive and also make me buy into it so much. So I gave it 4 stars. Next is Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey, book 2 in the Under the Mistletoe collection. I did not like this. This was basically no plot, only spies, so I wasn't a fan. I gave it 1 star. And from there, I read A Very Irish Christmas by Debbie Johnson. I read this because it's Irish, which threw me a little bit because she ends up going to this like English village, but in this English village, they call it like Little Ireland or something because a lot of Irish people live there. Anyway, I gave this 3.5 stars. This was cute, as most of these reads are. They're not going to be anything mind-blowing. There is a love triangle in it, but I don't think it's that bad. I think it's actually done okay. I really enjoyed the Irish flair of this story, and that it's about a woman taking a risk to spend a holiday season overseas to find herself. I really enjoyed that as well. I liked that that was kind of the driving force of the story, and the characters were really cute, and I really liked it. And then I read Faking Christmas by Cindy Steele. I liked this one a lot, actually. The fake dating trope was a lot of fun, and I liked the characters that were involved in it. Once Olive got her new cabin in the story, my enjoyment went up because the talk of children throwing up is not my vibe. I don't like that. But it was really cute. I like the fake dating trope, so that's really enjoyable. And they did it pretty well. I also really liked the topic of grief was handled in this, so it was kind of a multi-layered holiday rom-com, but ended up being really good. I gave it 4 stars. Then I finished my next Hermione fanfiction. So this time I read Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love by Is This Self-Care? I think 3 of the Hermione fanfictions that I've been reading or have read that I've really, really loved the authors are being turned into published authors, and they're like reworking the same story but into a different fantasy world, because obviously it can't be in Harry Potter, which is so fun. So this is no exception. This author is also coming out with a book that'll be on my anticipated releases, and I can talk about it then. But I read Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. This was so cute, so good, 5 stars. I loved it. I loved the slow burn. I loved the humor. The way the story progressed from bodyguards to friends. I also really enjoyed the overarching plot because there was an underlying plot going on through all of it, and it was just woven together and so good. It was done really well and really interesting, even though it's a mystery for a while and you don't get a lot of information for a while. It was so sweet and yet still dangerous and adventurous and fun. So I'm absolutely going to read what this author puts out in her published book, and I love this. Hermione fanfiction has just been a moment for me. And then I read A Christmas Date by Camelia Isley. This is kind of like a more novella Christmassy book. This one was really short but cute. I ended up liking it a lot. I thought it was done pretty well. Another short one that was done well and good. I liked the male main character and the difficult dynamics of the sisters and good. it was done well, and I gave it 4 stars. That one was also like a fake dating type of a trope. And then I read All by My Elf by Olivia Dade. This is Under the Mistletoe Collection number 3. Didn't vibe with this one. This one was fine, not horrible, just not much, mostly spice, 2 stars. And then I read Merriment and Mayhem Under the Mistletoe Collection number 4 by Alexandria Bellafleur. And I liked this one. This had like a fireman aspect of it. I wish it had a little bit more plot. So far, this was my second favorite of the series at the time, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. And then I finished the Under the Mistletoe collection with Only Santa's in the Building by Alexa Daria. This one was cute. I liked both the male main character and the female main character. I thought they both were developed pretty well, and I liked the interactions between the two. I liked the ornaments element in this story and the vibes, so I gave this 3 stars. So this one was also pretty enjoyable. And then I read the ever iconic and hyped Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison, and I think it lived up to the hype for a lot of it. It was really cute. I really liked the Christmas tree farm aspects and the characters. I liked the fake dating trope. I liked how some of that was resolved, because the ending is kind of not what you think it's going to be, or how some of the situations are resolved with the contest is not what you think it's going to be. And I just overall liked how she wrote the characters. There's always that kind of like miscommunication, I messed up type of a trope, so that can be a little bit frustrating, but you come to expect it in these types of books. But I think for it being a little holiday romance, I think it is really good. I gave it 4 stars, and I learned that it is a series. I had no idea that it was a series. I just thought it was one and done, but that's book 1, and there are 3 other books that are out, which is crazy, and I think there's a 5th one coming out this year. So I'll have to look into that series more, but I did really like it, and I understand why people recommend it. And then I read The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. This was on my TBR last year for a Christmassy book, and I just never got to it. And it's really short as well. It's also a novella, but I thought this was really interesting. I gave it 3.5 stars because it was so different. It went in a different direction than most mystery and thrillers would, in my experience that I have read. I really liked the twist of that and how it all unfolded and how you're told the story like halfway through. I really liked it. I thought it was really good, and very short read, very quick read, and I thought it was really good. Would definitely recommend. I feel like if I tell you the plot, it's too much. Like, I feel like you just have to go into it. But essentially, this girl makes a friend in college. She's studying overseas. She's a US student that's studying overseas, and she makes a friend, and her friend invites her over to her family's English estate for Christmas. And it turns out that there was a girl there that was murdered that looks just like this exchange student. And things go from there. And then Christmas had ended at this point, so I started reading other books on my TBR, and one of them was a NetGalley that I needed to listen to and review, and that was A Rivalry of Hearts, Fae Flings and Corset Strings, Book 1 by Tessanja Odette. And I liked this book a lot more than I thought I would, to be honest. I thought I would like it okay and it would be fine, and I received the audiobook from NetGalley in exchange for my review. But I liked this was a historical rom-com, but in a world where Fae are in normal society. I just really liked that crossover. I liked that the 2 main characters were both authors on a book tour together and rivals. They disliked each other immediately, but through a bet and time, they kind of learned more about each other. The banter was really fun, and I really enjoyed how the characters interacted, and it definitely has some spice, but I felt like it was done well, and I really ended up liking the story, and it was really funny. I think even John was listening to it a little bit with me on our car ride home, and he was laughing too and thought it was funny. So I really enjoyed this, actually. I wasn't necessarily expecting that, and gave it 4 stars. And then I read Dangerous Prayers, Because Following Jesus Was Never Meant to Be Safe by Craig Goschel. He goes through, I think it's 3 types of dangerous prayers, and I thought it was really interesting. So if you're interested in looking into that, I would suggest reading it. I really liked the idea of being outside of your comfort zone and being willing to kind of be uncomfortable and praying these prayers to make yourself uncomfortable and to grow. So if that sounds interesting, check it out. And then last but not least, I was able to read High Court of the Coffee Bean Book 2 by Jennifer Crope, Sincerely, Secretary of Doom. I still really liked this book. I still really like the series and the characters and how it's written. I didn't love it as much as the first one, but I still really liked it. There were different and interesting elements in the story versus the other one. There was a nine-tailed fox, and there was a mystery throughout the book, and it's more dangerous and adventurous with a touch of romance. Also humor, of course. These have to have humor. However, so it's more adventurous and dangerous, and you're like, what's gonna happen? How is this gonna resolve? Oh no, what's happening? This couldn't have happened. Oh, it's resolved. Okay, it's okay. And then it's humorous. You're like, haha, great, we're gonna go to book 3. However, the extra chapter, the like epilogue, cliffhanger, is bothering me so much that I think it won't get resolved until book 4. And if that's the case, I need book 4 right now. The hopes that that cliffhanger is answered, and I'm very upset about it. It's good. It's like that, you know, that's what authors are supposed to do. They're supposed to give you some of the content to propel you into the story and into the next story. But that tore me up a little bit, and I'm kind of mad about it, and I need to find out what happens. So Jennifer, please give us book 4 in 2025 so I can have some resolution. Okay? 4 stars. Those are all of the books that I was able to read in December. It was a lot, but there were a ton of novellas and like shorter stories in there. I was really excited that I was able to read that much and really get into like the holiday spirit. It was a lot of fun, and being able to end out my reading year on a high note was also really, really good. I'd love to know what your favorite book of December was, or if you were kind of leaning into more thematic reads like Christmassy ones, or you were just reading whatever you wanted. Overall, 2024 was a fantastic reading year, and I'm looking forward to reading new things with you in 2025. But as for now, that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.